Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Anupama Kapoor, the founder at Reboot, and I welcome you to another International Women's Day special, Busting Gender Myths. The International Women's Day 2021 campaign theme is Choose to Challenge. A challenged world is an alert world. Individually, we are all responsible for our own thoughts and actions every day. As Reboot works towards creating gender equal workplaces, it gives me great pleasure to host Varij Pujara, the Chief Distribution Officer at Aditya Birla Health Insurance Limited, who over her 23-year-long career has dismantled many a stereotype. She's an industry veteran, and of the 23, 18 years was spent in life insurance, general insurance, and health insurance domains. Varij has worked with Bharti AXA, general insurance, and has spent 12 long years at Birla Sun Life Insurance and the last role being head of bank assurance, marketing, and health business. Varij, incidentally, is a Bachelor of Engineering in Instrumentation Technology, and she's done post-graduation in Business Administration from TAPI Institute of Management, Manipal. Welcome, Varij. It gives me so much pleasure to invite you to a session that's all about busting gender myths. Do share with us what you had to do and the stereotypes you dismantle every day at work for the last 23 years.
Thank you so much, Anupama. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me over. This is one of my favorite topics because, as you know, being a woman in a male-dominated, what do you call it, stereotypical sales environment, there are stereotypes, gender biases that I see every day, and this is a great question to lead from, Anupama, because when I started working, the most repeated excuse in '95 as to why there were lesser women in the workforce was that when women get married, they're unlikely to continue working, or even if they do, they will not be able to devote their full attention to work because they will have to handle home and family. 23 years later, 25 years later, I still see this being a gender stereotype. But now I think there's enough evidence to prove that this is not true. I can give you any number of examples of women I know personally who've made a career for themselves and who are also managing home and family equally well. I think this is one stereotype that has continued for the past few decades, and that I seriously see women battling every single day of in their work life. The second stereotype is that women can do certain kinds of roles. Women are pleasant, likable, warm, not particularly forceful or suited for high pressure roles. I disagree. It's not that simply because I'm a woman, I don't have those characteristics. Women are individuals too, just like men, and every woman has a different characteristic, just like men. So it's very very it limits the talents, ambition, and potential by being labeled in these these mannerisms for us as women. I think, and that's the second stereotype that I've seen every day, and that I feel that is sometimes very very untrue, and it should be individual based and not gender based. I mean, I can go on about the stereotypes, that it's things that, women are more assertive than women. And after a certain age, women will not be in a position to do senior level roles because they're not able to handle the pressure at home and, at work. Things like that. But genuinely, Anupama, I do feel that it's up to the woman. It's up to us. And I think women can do as much, if not more, than any man can.
That's so true. That's true. So one of the first, since we're talking about busting gender myths, one of the first things I want to ask you is, how has it been to be in the sales domain and in such a competitive environment? And you've I see that you've had leadership roles throughout, head of bank assurance and head of direct marketing, and now the chief distribution officer. And this whole stereotype around women can't do sales, women are not cut out for sales. In fact, you will, if you go looking, you don't find enough skilled talent for sales. So, what are your thoughts on that myth or stereotype?
So I look, just to give you a little bit of a context. I look after sales. I manage a 1,000+ crore business. I have about 2,500 people working in my team, and sales is. I do believe it's all about managing complexity. Whether you're a man or a woman, the role doesn't change. It's just that as you grow higher, you should allow for the it has to encompass the entire vision and not have a siloed vision of the business. It's also about I always believe that it's about how enabling your team works, how enabling your partnerships work, and it's all about people. Becoming a chief distribution officer has made me such a better person. I believe that if I have the right people working with me who are part of my team and I can bring out the best in them, I think we can make the business a success. What has also been working for me is prioritization and time management. Anupama, I'm a mother of an 8-year-old. Uh, I
Wow.
handle uh, I handle a large business, and I have always believed it's about prioritization. It's about it's about creating a support system that allows me to focus on work when I'm at work and allows me to focus at home when I'm at home. And the one thing, Anupama, that I believe as women we shouldn't do is never allow guilt to come into the picture. Okay.
That's
I travel
interesting.
15 to 20 days a month. I have learned the importance of
Wow.
quality time over quantity with my child. And it's about setting up the right support system, whether at home, whether having the right team in office, and giving both your worlds, which are so equally important to you, everything that you've got.
Right.
So that is something that I have seen in my working life, that as women, we have to do much more than what a man has to do. My second thing that I really personal and professional dilemmas, which I want to share because all of us are women here. It's the ability to switch off and on, Anupama. For me, it's not about work versus home. It's about work-life integration. So even if there is a call, and if I'm, from my child, and even if I'm the most important meeting in the world, I will excuse myself, I will pick it up, and he knows that I'm always there for him. And of course, vice versa. Even if I'm on holiday on the beach, I will still pick up an important call if it's from my office because I know nobody's going to call me unless they are in, deep trouble. So I think these are the kind of things where you've got to have your support systems. You prioritize, you learn how to juggle the different priorities and how to make things work.
Absolutely.
These
Absolutely.
have been some things that I've come across.
Right. But there's one thing though. I mean, there are so many women leaders that I know personally now who had these glorious careers like yourself. One thing that's always been common has been a support system. So what kind of a support system do you have that enables you to, to sort of toggle these two parts of your life so flawlessly?
Anubhava, I always believe I was never born with a support system. We all come from middle class, hardworking families, but you do realize that when you want to achieve something, whether in your personal life or professional life, you can't do it alone. Yeah, one of my learnings is that sometimes if I have to let go. I have to believe. I have to have faith in others. It's not about just believing in self. Uh, of course, I do believe in myself, but it's also about having faith in others. In difficult situations, when I'm with my back to the wall, my natural instinct is let me do this myself. Yeah. But if I have faith in my team, my peers, my partners, I think it helps me do a better job. I think it helps my team have an opportunity to grow and learn. And so, from an organization perspective, I have learned the hard way to delegate more and more, to have the right
Right.
people who have my back, and
Right.
in the again, I'm also giving them an opportunity to learn and grow. At
Right.
home, I have a partner who's an equal partner. When I'm traveling for 15, 20 days a month, he steps in. We ensure we don't travel on the same days. When I'm
Absolutely.
traveling, he tries to make an effort to stay at home. And when he's traveling, try to make an effort to stay at home. So we believe in an equal partnership. Though, Anupama, I must confess that Sometimes I've made choices which still make me sick at the bottom of my stomach, and I still feel that, I look back and think, could I have done something different? But as a woman, there are times when my child has needed me. My child has been sick, and I've still had to go out and travel. And yes, I've made that choice. Uh, However, I think over the last 20 years, there have been structural shifts in society. Um, and we've become nuclear families, and I think these are forcing uh, spouses to find some kind of a tentative balance, together. Again, it's still very fledgling. It's still better than 25 years ago. It's still that the woman who has to make the decision to prioritize the home and find a career path. But I do believe that we're making some slow progress, even though I feel it's at a glacial pace. I think we can do this much
Past.
quicker, faster. But yes, that's, I think we're making some progress.
Yeah, that's true. And I think one of the interesting things that's also coming out in what you're sharing is that while we are here busting, gender myths and the stereotypes that we have about women, the fact is that some of these stereotypes we ourselves tend to, if I can use the word, further. So, for example, we are not happy when our partners at home do some things because we have a certain standard of, say, cleaning the kitchen or looking after the child or taking the child out. So, we have certain expectations and we are also not willing to compromise on those standards. We want everybody to look after the child or the home just like we do. So that's something that's a stereotype that that's a myth that women need to sort of address within themselves, so that others around them are able to support them too. So that goes back to the point you made about having faith in your support system, isn't it? So
Yeah, absolutely, Anupama. I hear you, and you're absolutely right. Sometimes we're perfectionists. We don't let go. Sometimes we don't let help people, help us. And I think that's the first thing we need to do is have faith in ourselves and believe that there are people there for us. And I'm a firm believer in sometimes, learning to give up and delegate. That's the first thing. The second thing along the same lines, Anupama, as women, I don't think we ignore enough.
right,
We allow people to judge us. Male or female, it doesn't matter. My capabilities, my talent is my own. My ability to achieve is going to be based on my capabilities, talent, hard work, knowledge, etc., etc., but mostly on my self belief. So if I do not ignore what people are going to keep saying, I think I'll just be wasting my time. And I think sometimes we don't ignore enough.
right,
I always tell myself whenever I have my bad moments, I tell myself, don't let the world tell you what you're capable of. Only I know what I'm capable of, and let me do that. And the last thing, Anupama, I think we as women don't give ourselves enough credit. We don't celebrate our successes. Um, Somewhere we want to do more, 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 and in that perfection, in that doing more, I think we need to give ourselves enough credit. I think we need to celebrate ourselves more. And of course, things will go wrong. We are not superhuman beings, right? We are women just like men,
absolutely.
and we're juggling 25 things. And it's okay if you drop a ball once in a while. It's fine. Men do it too. It's not about being a woman. So allow
Right.
yourself that opportunity of being human, and it's okay. It's okay to be, yeah.
That's so true. One key stereotype around women and work is that women aren't ambitious. And that's one of the reasons why we see not enough women leaders. What do you say to that? How would you bust that myth, if at all?
So Anupama, it's so interesting you say this because I always believe this is where our upbringing is what conditioned us as women. In our society, when boys are born, they're told you've got to be aggressive. This is the kind of career that you should be looking at. These are the kind of you need to be a leader when you grow up. When women are when a girl is born, it's all about being caring. It's about being gentle. It's about being home caring, so on and so forth. I believe that, men and women have the same aspirations. There are men who are gentle, there are women who are aggressive, and vice versa. It's not about gender, it's about your own personality. Um, but the conditioning and the upbringing that we've had sometimes, you know i- is what brings in that stereotype. And I meet so many women, and all of them are equally ambitious, are equally aggressive, and are equally working hard to make it happen. Women are more hardworking. I see, and even in sales, Kanupama, you asked me earlier, we have lower number of women in sales, but let me tell you, the performance of women versus men, I can tell you that women perform much better in terms of their target achievement, in terms of money that they earn, even in sales. The stark
Wow.
difference in the numbers that they achieve, women work much better. So,
Wow.
and this is a proven fact. I mean, I'm just quoting numbers as I see it. It's just that I think something holds us back as women. Yeah, maybe the conditioning, maybe the upbringing, maybe that first step. Um, maybe that, maybe we're not able to ignore that stereotype, and we should keep pushing the belief that talent and abilities will be recognized as long as results are achieved. It's not about being a man or a woman, it's about
Yeah.
my talent and ability that I need to focus on. uh, I think if I can do that, um, and what we do differently from men is that, for men, um, a career is an achievement, right? And I think a
Yeah.
women need to look at career as the gateway to achievement as well. A job is just a means to an income. It's not about a job. Anywhere you can get a job, you can earn. But I think career intentionality is what we as women should also, uh, it's okay to do that. It's okay to have career intentionality. It's okay to say, I love doing this, I will do this. And it's only if I love what I'm doing, I'll give it my best, right? And,
Right.
and, and it'll also give me an emotional fulfillment, and then I will not mind the compromises that I have to make on a day to day basis if I love what I do. I think
Right.
that's where we as women, it's not about being aggressive versus being docile. It's about knowing what you want. It's about your talents and capabilities and having faith in them. And it's about delivering results. It, I do believe that, um, we are as capable as any man. And I do believe that we as women can have it all. It's only a definition that what does it mean for you? What does it mean for me having it all?
Right. Yep, yep. I completely resonate with those thoughts. I'm looking at this comment that's come up. I'm in a job of sales and marketing, but discouraged by my family as it involves traveling. And I'm pressured to quit as it may be tough after baby, as I think caregiving is a woman's job. How do you handle this? So, this is a scenario in which there is somebody in working in sales but is under pressure from the family. What do you do in these situations?
So it's all about finding a balance. There are no right or wrong answers. There are certain stages in life that your child might need you for the first 3 months, 6 months, so on and so forth. There are other stages where your family will, for example, Anupama, I had a child at 41, and I took
Wow.
a year and a half off just to have a child, and I went back to work when he was about a year old. I did that. I came back to work. I have no regrets either ways. I decided when I knew I needed to take time off for my child, and I knew after he was a year old, I was traveling 30 days a month. It didn't matter to me. I set up a support system, and it's all, even today. My child sees me maybe 2 3 days a month, but he knows what's important to his mother. The father tells him, if your mother is not happy, all of us will not be happy. She's happy doing what she is doing. Would you be happy not attending school? No, you love your school. Would she be happy not going to work and being there the whole day? Absolutely not. So it's all
Right.
about making your family understand that you're always going to be there for them, but that you need to do this for yourself. Um,
Right.
because you are
True.
equally capable. And it's all about finding a balance. There are no right or wrong answers. There are
True
certain
that.
points of time, you will turn around and say, my child needs me. Today he's sick. I need to be here. There are certain times where you say, I need to travel this whole week. It doesn't matter. My work needs me more. So it's all about making the choices. And it's not just in sales, it's everywhere in life.
Right. Right.
Life is all about choices. Uh,
That's
you
true.
know, and Anupama, nobody can make those choices for us. So while I hear the lady saying, family pressures. But I think if we sit down with a family and make them understand that you're going to be able to handle both, maybe we set the right expectations together. Maybe, like you rightly said earlier, Anupama, seek help, saying that, can
Right.
you help me with this? Can you take care of my child 9 to 5? Because child needs grandparents more than uh, when I am not around. I think
Right.
reaching out, making that first move, creating that balance in your life, creating that support system, I think those conversations will give you your direction, in
Right.
which,
Yeah,
that's
and
where
I
I
think another important thing is that just like you shared that, your husband told your son that mom will not be happy, just like you will not be happy going to school. So we need to have these conversations where the daddy's job is just as important as mommy's job is just as important as your school. So that if anybody can pitch in whenever required. And families, you're right, need to sit down with families, make them understand that beyond childbirth and maybe breastfeeding, caregiving is something everybody can do very well, including the fathers. It's just that in our socialization we haven't tackled that well enough so far.
No,
Right.
absolutely, Anupama.
Yeah, moving on. So there was this very interesting, actually, a bit of a shocker this morning. I saw a Times of India clip in which there is some conversation going on around, making physics and maths not mandatory for engineering colleges. So this led to a discussion in the mommy WhatsApp group, and sure enough, I was soon talking about how anyway girls are made to believe through upbringing and through social pressures, social awareness, that somehow girls are not cut out for maths and science. It's a boys' thing. Girls are more suited for liberal arts, for English literature, for history, and so on. Somebody like you, who herself is an engineer and you're an MBA, and here in which you've been head of bank assurance, you're a chief distribution officer today. I'm sure you're grappling with numbers every day, and by grappling, you come across them every day. What do you say about this myth, and how do you think we can tackle this myth amongst young girls and their parents?
Anupama, I don't believe that men are good at this or women are good at this. We've always had, silly things at the work, even outside the workplace. It's men are insensitive, women are bad drivers, men love sports, women love shopping. I just don't believe in that. And when we come to
Right,
work, we again get exaggerated in different types of stereotypes. So it, it's not about maths or science. It's about the individual's likes and dislikes.
yeah,
I have a child who loves to sing, who loves music, and probably will want to sing when he grows up and will want to take arts, and he's a boy, and I am fine. It's all about what the person's individual characteristics are. I'm a
right,
person who's a number person. Anupama, I did my engineering, and I am telling you, engineering, I what I liked about engineering is it taught me analytical skills. It made me more logical in my approach to things. And even though I have never utilized my engineering degree for the last 25 years in sales, the 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 upbringing in terms of thought process has
right,
always held me in good stead. So it's not that women can do better at arts and boys can do better at maths or science. I completely disagree with that. It's an individual choice and preference. And I think as parents, I think we need to start from there. We need to give that freedom of choice to the child, and not reinforce our you know uh, social upbringing beliefs into
yeah,
what is great for a boy child versus what is great for a girl child. It's what is great for you as a human being and as an individual, and as being your own, you being your own personality that you bring into the world. I think
absolutely.
somewhere we, even as a parent, I struggle sometimes. Like I said, my child loves art, he loves maths, he loves, music. And I'm very clear. We will go with what he likes. It's not about anything to do with gender. It's not about what, even I was growing up, there was only engineering and medical. Yeah, there was nothing else. I mean,
Yeah,
and as a girl, I was told you can do whatever you want, engineering, medical, art, science. Today, the child has many options. He can decide to become a musician, and fine, I'll have to live with it.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about giving the freedom right from when when they're kids, and explaining to them that the choice is yours as an individual. It's not about being a boy or a girl. It's not about having any genetical traits. It's about you, your likes, your strong talents, your capabilities, your abilities that will drive you through your life. And so pick your career choices. Do what you want basis this, and not what anybody else tells you.
Right.
You can.
So the good thing is that we have now gradually started seeing role models in women leaders across various industries. Even we were talking about a lady, an Indian scientist in NASA recently.
Yes.
I forget her name right now. But the challenge is, and I actually discussed this question earlier this week on another panel, and I'm sure you'll empathize with me because you and I both are moms of boys. The challenge is that while women seem to be making these giant steps towards better careers and highly valued careers, I should say, the same is not true for men. We need to see more men in, say, caregiving industries, what we call the care economy. We need to see more men teaching. We need to see more men, frontline healthcare workers and nurses. So that is also a very solid stereotype that women are natural caregivers and men are not. Your thoughts on
The
that?
Absolutely, Anupama. In our culture, the male is seen as, stable, tough, aggressive, and, with leadership qualities. And the woman is seen as more warm, emotional, gentle, softer, as a follower. And in urban towns, these might be stereotypes could be a little more subtle. In rural, it might be a little more obvious, but it's there. And I do believe that by having these stereotypes, you're limiting that person's potential to grow. You're limiting his well-being. For example, today, if I tell my child only a girl can cook, when he grows up, he's going to believe in that. Instead of him coming into the kitchen and making his own sandwich even at the age of 8, which I insist, and I want him to see that cooking is a something that you need to know for your own survival and your own personal need. but
It's a
but
life
but
skill.
yeah, it's a life skill. But what happens is, because of these stereotypes, people ignore their own personality traits. We ignore our own temperament. Even if I'm an
Right.
aggressive, because I'm a woman, I think this is not for me. I ignore my own unique characteristics that makes me what I am. And then there becomes this tendency to conform to that, to that norm of masculinity and femininity, and what is right and what is wrong. I think instead of this tendency to generalize, we as parents need to start from us. uh, you know um, there are we just glorify sometimes the gender differences. I think it's about individual characteristics, personality traits, temperaments, etc. It's not man versus women. And right from the beginning, when we are bringing up our kids, we need to start from there.
Right.
We need to begin with ourselves, is my feeling, Anupama. And I
Absolutely. You're
you know I
absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So one from various workshops that I have myself conducted, it's much harder to convince a room of middle-aged men that they might be biased. It's easier if we start from scratch. And in fact, earlier this week I was in a panel where there was this American author who's written this book called "Boys: How Do Boys Become Men." And he's saying the same thing that we need to actually start at early school years. We need to normalize many things for men instead of making this whole, norm, notions of manhood around being strong, about that my daddy's strongest. It could be my mommy's strongest too, you know, and that itself, but by not encouraging emotionally sensitive boys, that itself leads to violence much later in life. And this is violence in various forms. It could be domestic violence. It's what you see out in the streets, and it's even violence. As such, violence by pure violence, which is when you're out in society, when you're hanging around public spaces. Boys tend to express themselves physically in fights, etc. So this entire piece is actually linked, very, very in a very complex manner. So we need to attack this right in the childhood years. Moving on, and talking about, uh, you've already spoken about, women can be successful professionally and can also be a present parent, and and women with children are not less devoted to their job. So this is something we've already tackled. What about the assertive versus aggressive quandary? We are always hearing these stories about it's very hard to work with a female boss. She's too bossy. And if there was a female boss, she would be, she's definitely worse than a male boss. So the same traits we accept in men, but in women, we are not happy accepting them, whether we are women reportees or men. What's been your
Uh, you
experience?
know, I always believe, Anupama, that being nurturing and being a taskmaster, these two are not mutually exclusive,
Yeah,
and can never be. It depends on the situation and the requirement, um, at that point of time. As long as you are able to, gain the respect, basis the solutions, and basis what you bring to the table for your team, uh, people will respect you and have faith in you, irrespective of being a man or a woman. It really doesn't matter at all. Once they respect you, conflict resolution becomes a lot easier. And what you should have confidence in your abilities. And when you have that resistance from your colleagues, whether male or female, you can always handle in a very respectful and cooperative manner. So it's all about doing your job, doing it well, and earning that respect. But the second thing I always also feel is that you can never win them all.
yeah,
You don't have to feel guilty about being everything for everybody.
right.
You have to do your best, and the rest is enough. So that's what I also believe, that there will always be disappointments, Anupama. There are
Right.
always in day-to-day life. I always learn from my disappointments, and I'm one person, even after 25 years of working, I celebrate myself. I celebrate my success. and
Awesome.
and I believe that we should do that. We are the, even men celebrate. Why wouldn't I celebrate? Of course I work harder than any man, and that's fine, but that's my choice that I'm making, and not anything else, right?
True.
So
That's
I think it's all about earning respect, and then working from there.
right. So here's a good point. Me and my husband are in the same company. I'm under a lot of pressure to refuse promotion, as it'll put women cannot earn more than men. So I think what she's basically saying is that there is a stereotype around men having to earn more. And since both of us are in the same organization, I refuse promotions because that will make me more senior, and will I will be bringing in more money in the house. This is so true. I mean, we have this whole notion. Our entire matrimonial system of arranged marriages is based on how much does the guy earn, and does he earn more than you?
No, absolutely. And while today's statistics, Anupama, show that a lot of women are joining the workforce, and they're there, it is a first step, of course, I believe, in normalization of working women's story, which started, in the World War II. But I think in terms of economic compatibility and women earning as much as men, the changes are yet to occur. It happens, like I said, in urban towns, but in rural towns, I think we have a long way to go. Sometimes it appears that, and studies show that relative to male colleagues, women are still earning slightly lower. And I've
Yes.
seen a shift in the last 25 years. It's at a very slow pace, glacial pace, but things are improving. And I've seen around me how women colleagues have, proved their capabilities and have gained respect of their peers, and are growing, not just in terms of levels, but also in terms of, economic parity. And uh, while stereotypes will exist, and it will always be there, I believe that every day as we speak, these things are diluted, because women today are there and they're there to stay, and they're leaving little doubt of their capabilities, and they're showing that they can succeed in the workplace. So and I agree with you. It's all about, we've been conditioned that men are the, you've got to, men are the breadwinners of the family and women are the caregivers. But today, nuclear families, Anupama, that's changing.
Yeah,
Both have to play both the roles. Like you rightly said, caregiving is not just a woman's job. A
yeah,
father is equally important in the
yeah.
upbringing of a child. What a father can bring, a mother can never bring, and what a mother can bring, a father can never bring. Um,
Absolutely. And the key to all this is role modeling.
yes,
So when we want our boys to learn cooking, or if we want our daughters to drive, then it has to be role modeled by both the parents respectively. It can't be, you can't tell them one thing and do the other, because that's never going to then be assimilated well by them. So absolutely. I have another interesting input that's coming in, which is women can't lift heavy weights. So, and before I ask you that, do you agree? I must share that this e-commerce company, very large e-commerce company in our country, actually approached me for a workshop because for the delivery boys, because they want to bring more women for deliveries, and but the line managers believe that women actually can't carry the heavy bags that delivery boys carry on them, and therefore it's counterproductive to bring women in this role. So what are your thoughts on that?
Anupama, I want to tell you a story. When I did my engineering way back in 92, 93, 90, 88 to 92, there was this thing called smithy, where you have to lift that iron or whatever, that heavy, whatever, I don't know, hathoda jisko kehte hai, and you have to actually mold that iron into making it into into a tool, right? And
Right,
I was exactly 45 kilos and I could never lift that. And but the fact of the matter is, they weren't looking at your ability to lift that big thing. They were looking at your ability to mold that iron, right?
right,
So in my engineering also, and I used to laugh and say that while I can't pick up that thing and I need somebody to help me to pick up that thing, I do know how to mold that iron. And I am a distinction student and I'm doing it because I know how to get the end result. Yeah, it's
right,
not about, it's not about heavy lifting. It's about it's about knowing what you can do.
right,
Even people say women can't do this, women can't do that. Why? I mean, I am why are these myths getting propagated? They are myths,
right,
and men can't do this. Again, I'm talking on behalf of men as well. Why? A man can take care of a child equally as a woman can, and a woman
right,
can be a taskmaster or leader as much as a man can. I
right.
I think it's all about bringing your abilities, capabilities to the table. It's
Yeah,
all about looking at the outcome. Uh, and some places, yes, women might need help for the heavier
right.
things, and that's why you have a team. That's why you have a support system, and that's why you have everybody around you to lift that heavy weight for you, Anupama. So
Right. And
that's
also
really
one of the
tough.
things we, yeah, and one of the things we ignore is that if a woman is not able to pick up a large weight today, it is because through her social upbringing, she has been told that no, you stop, let me do that. So the brother will do it, or the neighbor will do it, or the father will do it, or the uncle will do it. But we will not allow girls and young women to pick up these heavy weights because we are not trained like that. So it's not
Correct.
because at the age of 5 or the age of 10, whatever is the proportionate weight, it's just that we've never done it. So that could be one challenge. So it's about just, as we all learn when we exercise, it's about getting the right muscles to work for you, isn't it?
Ab- Absolutely.
Interesting comment from Priya here. She says, I'm a science postgraduate and I've encountered such stereotypes time and again in my workplace. I also feel we have to conform or make them think that we need to do something extra to be recognized many a times. But I believe if women are to move ahead and have positive implications, we have to believe in ourselves, our capabilities, and have to bust these stereotypes. Absolutely, Priya. Couldn't agree more with you on this. Just a second. Oh, my screen is frozen. Just a second. There's a very interesting one here. I'm an architect, and there are many preconceived notions about that. Some myths are that women aren't good at maths, interiors are done by women, and buildings are done by men. A woman won't be able to do a job that demands outdoor work amongst laborers, and a woman's touch is needed in remodeling the home. These are amazing. These are amazing. I never thought about architects and interior designers and how, a woman's touch is needed. So it's interesting to get this perspective from a completely different field. Any thoughts?
Yeah, somewhere I completely, you hear this all the time, Anupama, and it's good to get it out of the open. But when people have notions, I always believe that as long and you'll go through phases when you even start questioning your own abilities because of all this, right? It happens to the best of us. But I always believe, have a strong focus and a belief in yourself, and just do your part. As long as you
Right.
do that, you're going to come through with flying colors. And on the days that I have my doubts, I actually look back and say, I remind myself of all the things that I've done right so far, and I always say, okay, this is my self-worth, this is my self-belief, and if I've done it earlier, I can do it again. So I don't let um, stereotypes, myths, etc., uh, waver me from my strong focus and my strong belief in self. And as long as they're out there, Anupama, we can't debate that. They're there, and the only way to change it is by by inculcating in our sons and daughters a different kind of upbringing that I think we it starts with us. But as women, as long as we are clear, I think others respect us, and then these myths and stereotypes become a thing of the past. It starts
Right.
with this, but once you earn respect, then people forget about you being a woman. Then it's no longer about you being a woman. Then you are the boss, you are part of the team, you're a solution finder for them, you are their support system, and they are your support system. It
That's
takes work, I know.
such a nice way to put it. Actually, that's really nice.
Yeah.
That's something I'd like to leave this conversation with. And the last comment that I want to quickly share is from Gopika Kaul. Even my most modern and liberated women friends would make comments like, "He's a great father. He helps with the homework. Just doing what a father is supposed to do makes him great, while a mother's work is taken for granted." Story of all the households, isn't this?
Absolutely, Anupama. Absolutely. And that's where I feel the discussions and the role modeling, like you mentioned, Anupama, between the parents, matters a lot. Because if we are talking something else and doing something else, yeah, if today at home, I mean, I'm the one who is doing everything, but then I'm talking about equality. It's not setting the right example for the child.
Right.
He has to see it happening in real life. And absolutely right. I think Gopika made the right point. It's joint caregiving. And it's not about, even today. Sometimes I'm guilty of the fact that I don't know my son's timetable, and my husband knows. But that's fine. He's decided that he's working from home while I'm going to office for the past 6 8 months. So he's going to take care of the child's timetable while I can focus on my work. I mean, this is just
Absolutely.
one such
Awesome.
example. Because he's at home. Of course, when he starts going to work, it'll again become 50-50. But right now, the way it is, he takes care of 100%. And somewhere our actions speak louder than words. So as a family unit, somewhere it's up to us to show the right actions to our children, so that when they grow up, they don't grow up with these biases and in their minds. And I think it's up to all of us to do that, Anupama.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's a great point. We need to role model team units in which everybody plays their own part. Thank you so much, Varij. This has been such an interesting conversation. These are conversations we've had so many times, but every time a different perspective makes it so much more richer. Thank you so much for taking out time today. We can all choose to call out gender bias and inequality. We can all choose to seek out and celebrate women's achievements. Collectively, we can all help create an inclusive world. From